Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be going through my Pentagon Large Inclusions binder. This is a simple 1-inch binder where essentially I put everything else that wouldn't fit in a very conventional 9-pocket page. For example, Pentagon does a lot of postcards for their season's greetings and pre-order benefits, and they do a lot of individual member posters. I didn't want to shove everything into one giant 3-inch Pentagon binder, so I decided to separate it out into this second separate one. As you can tell here, I have customized the cover using a bunch of freebies that I have received. I received a couple of these from friends, and these stickers I just had from freebies from other trades or sales. And I do have the Invite You bookmark over here that I decided to utilize as a decoration instead of an actual bookmark as it's supposed to be. Opening up on this first page, we have the Everline 1 postcards from Invite You era. These were pre-order benefits from, as you can guess it, the site called Everline. The pre-order benefits include 1 photo card and 1 postcard per album, and these are unit postcards, as you can see. So even though I ended up purchasing 8 albums myself, I ended up selling the extra 4 photo cards because I didn't really want to deal with duplicates. These are pretty big, and they also have a nice matte quality on the inside. I'm not going to take them out because I don't want to fold them, putting them back in, but they are quite nice. I do actually really like large inclusions. So this is the We Live online concert bookmark/ticket and their Tipco postcards. Each member had their own individual Tipco postcard, but I ran a geo just so I can get Hongsuk, Kino, and Yowon, and I did end up selling the Kino and Yowon. I don't know why. I really don't know. I don't remember why I actually sold them. I think I just wanted more space, and I didn't want to buy more pages, so I just thought to start downsizing my collection. Here we have postcards from their season's greetings. I wasn't into collecting season's greetings when I purchased this set, so I ended up buying these 2 postcards from a seller in France. So the PayPal fee, plus a shipping fee, plus a conversion fee from USD to Euro did not make these postcards worth it considering the overall price of the season's greetings themselves, but they're cute. I really like the concept. They look really soft and green, so it makes me really happy to have these postcards in. I'm not going to collect the rest, but I'm happy with what I have. These 2 postcards here are from Demo 2. Now these postcards are kind of weird because they are weirdly collected, but because they're from an older album, a lot of people tend to price them a little higher. I see these going for as cheap as like 4 USD each and as pricey as 12 USD, and they actually sell at that 12 USD price point. I pulled this in my own copy that I bought for the photo cards, and a friend was downsizing her Yan'an collection, and I managed to scoop this one too because I don't think anyone else expressed interest. But here are Pentagon's Genius photo cards. This album is really interesting because they didn't have individual member inclusions. Like, there weren't anything that was photo card size. They only have these larger postcards. Not this one, this is the summer album, but they only had these larger postcards up here. And I don't think they were individually labeled, so people couldn't really figure out whose postcard was whose. I bought these albums, I think I bought this album secondhand, and they said that it had a Hongsuk photo card, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm looking forward to receiving that photo card. But I received a postcard with his feet and his face. He's very lucky that I like him, but man, this is a very interesting inclusion. Here's another Genius postcard. I'm not sure whose this one is. Thinking maybe... no clue. But the same friend who was downsizing her Yan'an collection also had the postcard from Summer, and this is the only summer inclusion postcard that I have because I ended up buying that album secondhand, which is why I didn't receive any of the photo cards then, and I ended up trading for those separately. Dr. Bebe came, or the Black Hall, that came with individual member stickers, and I bought these two because they came with the album that I bought from Mercari Japan. The Black Hall also came with individual member posters. These are quite large. As you can see, this is only like a quarter of it, because you'll see the other half of their face down here and to the other side that way. These are quite large, so there's really no point in expanding them fully to showcase the fact that they are posters, so I just threw them in here. For Love or Take, I did very briefly consider collecting all 24 album covers for Love or Take because there are 3 versions, which is the Romantic, Mild, and Sporty, and there are 8 member covers per version. So basically, one member would have 3 different album sleeves, essentially, because they're all member specific. The romantic version is terribly hard to look for right now. I think it's sold out on all Western retail sites, and because they're randomized, I didn't really want to deal with ordering a lot by myself, and because I actually do have the OT8 Love or Take photo card collection already finished, so I don't really have any use for the photo cards. I'm really just looking for the member specific posters like I have back here, and the member specific covers. I'm thinking that I might just go through Mercari Japan and try to buy everything that way. I know that shipping is going to be terribly expensive, but because the photo cards are not my priority, it really doesn't make sense for me to try to buy everything retail, because I do want to keep the actual photo books to themselves so I have something cohesive on the shelf. So the reason why I have the OT8 pages here and not on my shelf itself is because on my shelf I have displayed the member specific covers. Love or Take also came with individual member posters per version. So this is Hongsok's romantic version, this is Shinwon's Sporty, Yowon's romantic version, Kino's romantic version, Kino's mild version, and Woo-Sok's romantic version. It looks like I only have one Sporty version, which is Shinwon's. And everything else I purchased, and it came with the album, aside from this one, which I received in one of those random large inclusions trades that tends to happen on Instagram. And finally, we get to one of my favorite parts of this binder, which is the Invite You member posters. So Invite You actually came with one individual member poster per album. And so in order to get all 8 members throughout both versions with the Flare and the Nouveau versions, you essentially had to buy an additional 16 albums and hope for the best or trade. So I was lucky and ended up running an album group order through Everline, and I physically received all of those albums, and since a lot of people only wanted the pre-order benefit and the photo cards themselves, I was able to keep a lot of their albums and go through and sift through to see what member posters that I was missing. I think I had mostly Flare posters, which is what I'm flipping through right now. And I don't really like the Flare concept as much because I think they rely too much on the props versus their faces, but I can deal with it. For the Nouveau version, I actually completed this part of my collection very recently, within the last week, because I was missing Hongsok's Nouveau poster for literally the longest time. Like, this was the one poster, this one, and I think I was missing, a Woo-Sok Flare. I think those two were 2 out of the 3 posters that I did not receive throughout my group order. So this one I actually technically traded with a friend from Japan with. So she ordered from Mercari Japan, and I had a bunch of extra posters that I was going to send to her, so she was like, hey, you're technically on a no-buy, so how about you use some of the postcards, some of the posters that you want to trade with me, and I will just go over and buy a Hongsok Nouveau poster, because she didn't have any on hand. So that's what we did, because we wanted to circumvent my very silly no-buy. And it almost looks like you can, this is funny, you can almost combine them into one person. but actually it took around 2-3 months for this poster to get to me, because for some reason Japan Post was running slow. So because she and I were friends, we were just talking throughout that entire time without any regard to whether or not the poster is coming in. But we just kept talking about how it's surprising that it didn't come through, because Japan Post 2, where I am living, tends to be pretty quick, like within 2 weeks. But it finally showed up after a couple long weeks of waiting, and after multiple times of me sending her items for a new transaction. So finally, after I think maybe 6-7 months after Invite You, I have finally completed all of the individual member inclusions. So I have all 16 posters for Invite You. I don't have all the posters for Love or Take. I really am undecided on whether or not I want to collect these. I think they're beautiful. Like, I think I'll be really happy if I do manage to complete the entire collection. But I also think it would be really stressful if I try that in the first place, because there are 24 albums that I need to get. 24 posters, 24 covers, photo cards I don't have to worry about. But it will be difficult, to say the least, and expensive. And I'm also running out of shelf space. So this was my Pentagon large inclusions binder. I'll do a very quick flip through now. I know this isn't really popular, but I know quite a lot of people who do not like large inclusions. I really, really like large inclusions. Like, I'm really happy when things come with postcards, because I just think they're a lot more impressive to store, and just look at how big these are. Like, displaying them is a lot more fun, and sure, it might be a little more difficult because they're not all conventionally sized, and it's probably going to be a hassle for people who don't already have sleeves like this because they're expected to go out and buy new ones. But as you can probably guess, I really just used a regular A4 sleeve that I had lying around that were extra and that I wasn't using in the first place, and I just decided to throw everything else in here. Quite a lot of these large posters actually fit very nicely. The Dr. Bebe, the black hole ones, obviously don't, so those kind of look a little out of place, but I love having these spread out like this, especially because these posters here are landscape versus the vertical posters of Invite You. I don't display posters on my walls because I have too many posters and not enough wall space, and I'm also really scared of damaging the corners with any blue tack or double-sided tape or washi tape. So everything goes in the binder because at least there's an equal chance of me actually looking through and seeing what inclusions that I have in the first place. What's interesting about these posters is that they do stick out on the top a little, but they're also very different in material. So the flare posters are shiny, kind of. Depending on how greasy your hands are, if you do touch them, you can actually leave behind fingerprint stains, but the Nouveau version is completely matte. So I do like handling the Nouveau version better because you don't have to worry about keeping your hands completely dry, and chances are you're not going to leave any residue on the posters themselves. And Shimon looks great here. I love his nose contour and his eyebrows. I just think their Nouveau version is superior in every sense of the word. I don't know if that's a popular opinion within Universe land, but it is my very strongly held belief that the Nouveau version just makes them look a little more expensive, and there was probably a little more thought put into their makeup and hair. And that is my entire Pentagon collection. I have actually flipped through my entire Pentagon collection for you. I do have a couple things coming in because guess what? Kino is having a... Where's Kino? Kino is having a solo debut, and he is coming out with a mini album, or a single. We actually don't know how many songs are on it because they didn't tease any like track list or anything, but it comes out. It's probably going to come out by the time this video comes out because I'm really bad at scheduling these things. but I did run 2 group orders for that, for Music Korea and One Takes. So my next Pentagon related video will probably be me going through my group order and sorting everything, which will be really exciting because I'm having everything delivered to me directly, so I get to do all of the unpacking, all of the sorting, and it's gonna be fun to see because I don't really know how people are gonna sort with the same member. Some of the people who joined my group order were not Kino stans, but they still wanted to support Kino in his solo endeavor. But hopefully the templates come out faster than the items get shipped to me, so I can let my Geo joiners know what type of inclusions they could be expecting. So that'll be my next Pentagon video, and until then, this was my large inclusions binder, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video and documenting my Pentagon collection with me.